Welcome to episode 22 of Celtic Sagas and Lore. In this episode, I'd like to do the influence of angels in Celtic culture. Now, you have angels are obviously, although they are Christian phenomenon now, they predate the Christian church by several centuries and were Greek in origin. But also in more modern times, angels are almost a religion type thing in themselves, and there are very many examples of angels influencing people today. Obviously, these are Christianized type angels, and there are various books and websites and blogs and so forth on people that claim to have encounters with angels or not. If this is true, I'm not disputing, and each to his own, as they say. Now, angels came into Celtic culture via the saints, and the story goes from various antiquarian sources that in the Book of Revelations you had the battle between the angels and the demons. You had Lucifer getting a bit uppity and getting a bit above his station, and then you had angels siding with him. Then you had Saint Michael on the light side, as we say, and there was a big punch up, and the Lucifer and the others were cast into hell. Now, in Celtic Christian mythology, there was a third group of angels that remained neutral. Now, after the dust settled, Saint Michael went up to these angels and said, "Okay, you didn't side with Lucifer, so we're not sending you to hell, so obviously you're not going to be cast to hell, but then again, you can't stay in heaven because you didn't side with us." So they were sent to Earth and became Earth angels. And your more humanoid type characters are found in Celtic legend. The sort of humanoid types, the Lady of Chirvanbach, the classic example of these angels, became the angels, and they banished to the earth plane until such time as the Day of Judgment, according to Celtic Christian mysticism. Now, they're interesting character, these angel types, or fairies, whatever you want to call them. They are interchangeable in Celtic mysticism, and as in the Bible, now you think of an angel, you think of some sort of deity in a robe with wings and halo and harp and the rest of that, but there are many different types of angels. And take the example, a story of Lot, for argument's sake. Now, 3 travellers came to Sodom and Gomorrah, and they were, although humanoid looking, they could tell that they were different to irregular human. They were more, to use a phrase I once heard, a bit more shiny. If you take the story of the fairy harp from Welsh mythology, which we covered in another episode, Thomas that saw the harp and recognised the 3 travellers as the people of the Fae because they were different. Now, if you think along the lines of the elves from Lord of the Rings, that'll give you a general idea how they were perceived. Now, going back to angels within Celtic culture, they have mainly, like I said, with individual people, but they were introduced by the saints, and there are many examples of angels interacting with the saints. As I said in an earlier episode with Saint Derwen, that angel froze the evil prince, and in other examples you have Saint Kevin, a Irish saint, and when he was born, an angel appeared to his parents and told him that he was going to be a great man of God. Other angels then appear as they sort of replace a hero or another deity in the story. For example, the story of Saint Cuthbert. Now, he was a great big man that turned to Christianity, and he had a lame knee and he was injured, and he was sitting outside his cottage one day, and a man rode up on a horse, and again he was saw his knee, and he said, "Oh, if you pray to God, then your knee will be healed." So, there's very few examples of an angel riding round on a horse. Saint Brynach is another character. Now, he said to converse with angels on Mynydd Carcnich, which translates roughly as Mountain of Angels. Now it's on the pilgrim route to Holyhead, and many people would stop off there due to its holiness. Obviously, some folk memory of a pagan holy site, as these are very common mountaintop retreats, and I'll cover mountaintops and their holiness in a different episode. Another example is Saint Malas, who was a Irish saint that was travelling on pilgrimage, converting the heathens in Ireland one day, and he came across 3 monks that were travelling and had what was a very rare commodity back then, a map, and he wished he could have a map because he was a bit lost. So he prayed to the Christian God, and a angel's feather fell down in front of him so he could make it into a quill, so he could copy the map. Again, probably something left over from a Celtic mythology, with a large eagle probably of some description, but got changed into a angel feather. Now, vast majority of angels in Celtic Christian mythology are described as a angel and are nameless, but there are a few examples of a named angel. Probably the most common one is that of Victor, who was a guide, sort of a mentor type figure to Saint Patrick. If you think along the lines of Gabriel with the Prophet Muhammad, he instructed him, do this, and that'll be the thing, to do things, write this down, and then act this way. This Victor angel character applied the same for Saint Patrick, and if you read his story, you'll see his influence on Saint Patrick. So I hope you enjoyed that story, this episode, and those stories as well. I hope to see you in episode 23, and thanks for listening.